Ladies and gentlemen, I am sat here backstage at the O2 Islington with Chibi of the Birthday Massacre.
Hello!
Hello. Now, how has the Under Your Spell tour been going so far?
Well, we started the Under Your Spell tour in the summertime.
Yep.
We started with a month in the USA, and then we had a couple weeks off. It was an amazing tour, and the album did really well. It charted on Billboard, which blew our minds. That was a great tour. Then we took a few weeks off. Then I broke my elbow.
Yeah.
Then we went back to the US for 2 weeks, and then right to Europe for a month, and now here we are for about 2 weeks.
Almost a year to the day since you were last here.
Really?
Yeah,
oh,
you were here last time.
Oh, wow.
Around October. Now, new album, lyrically it seems immensely personal. Mm-hmm. Now, did that make it kind of difficult to sort of perform the songs at first?
I would say writing the lyrics versus recording the lyrics versus performing them live are three completely things. Writing the lyrics is super personal, but then you run it past other people and it becomes like, okay, well, this doesn't work here, so we have to change this. And then, so you're like, okay, now we have these great lyrics that are super emotional. So now we have to go into the studio and then record them well. You know what I mean? So it's like you sort of have to... That's a different experience than writing them. And then performing them live, I think, is where those lyrics really start to flourish and really start to... Because you're on stage to emote and to perform, and the crowd is also feeling the songs. So that, I think, is the best incarnation of any of our lyrics, is always live.
Yeah. Well, I've got to say congratulations on the new album. I
you.
reviewed it just before it came out, and... To me, it is the Birthday Massacre version of a masterpiece, like the Downward Spiral by the 9 Inch Nails.
Really?
It's my album of the year. I'm
oh
not
my
even
God.
lying about.
That's beautiful.
I keep bloody listening to it, and people say to me like, "I don't think it's good as I say." I'm like, "You're not listening to me, right?"
That's right. Yeah.
Now, how do you feel the band's sound has evolved since back in the day when you released Violet?
Oh my gosh! I mean, I know for myself personally, I'm a completely different singer than I was back then.
Yeah.
Like, I literally had to change how I sang. I used to be so nervous and so awkward, and now I'm just kind of like, okay, like, this is just what we do now, and this is what I do now, and it's fine. So I think that the confidence for me especially is just completely different. And I mean, I think we also, over the years, have sort of grown into writing the type of songs that we have the live show in mind. Yeah. Like, what would be fun to play, what's going to have some really good energy. You know, the songwriting has absolutely changed in so many ways. I mean, what do we have now, 25 albums? It feels like...
I don't know, how many have you not released yet?
Yeah, exactly, right. Like, so I mean, it's so hard to even look back. I listen to some of those older songs and I just can't even believe it's... I mean, I obviously know that it's us, the songs are super personal, but I'm like... I don't even remember, like, I'm such a different person from when I was back then, and same with all of us.
Yeah, well, you said about the 25 albums there. You haven't reached Buckethead levels where he's released something like 100 albums this month.
That's the goal, man.
Yeah,
that's
100 albums a month.
100 albums a month.
I think your fans would love you forever, but never be able to hear them all.
That's fair.
I'll try, but now, looking back over your career, are there any songs that you sort of look back on and you think, oh, I could have done, not so fond of that anymore?
Absolutely. I'm not going to say which ones because I don't want to ever spoil, because everybody, you know, lots of people, the songs mean different things. But yeah, there's definitely songs where I'm like, ooh, nope. Or less like, oh, I wish I'd sang that different. Or why didn't we call this song this name instead of this name? There's always these little... But at the end of the day, when we released everything, we felt good about it at the time. And you always can go back and be like, ooh, eek, ooh, I don't like it. But, you know, I also think it's just more important to kind of move forward and not get hung up on those sort of like past...
Don't want to be album, do you really?
Well, that's the challenge, isn't it? You want to stay fresh and new and doing something interesting, but at the same time, you don't want to depart from who you fundamentally are as a band.
Yeah, you don't want to do what a few bands have done recently where, I mean... Suicide Silence, I don't know if you've heard them, where they went from being a sort of death metal band to having clean singing. Didn't go down too well.
Well, you know what though? I can understand. They probably wanted to try something new.
That's what it was. Yeah,
I get that.
They're all big fans of Korn, and like I thought, you know, we'll give it a go. Yeah, fan base didn't like it.
Well, you know what? They tried, and I mean, I hope if it was satisfying for them at the end of the day, good. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Now, the band has got a very strong bond with its fan base. Helps we can speak English, doesn't it? Now, do you think this has helped the band's sort of success grow and the word of mouth get out there and everything?
Absolutely. I think that our audience, the people who like our music, are some of the nicest, kindest, most creative people I've ever met in my life.
Yeah.
And not only are they super supportive of the band and what we do, they're super supportive of each other and have created a community amongst each other where they take care of each other at shows, they travel to meet each other at shows, and it's created this beautiful family not just with us and them, but with each other. And I absolutely, every time, I mean, we just did a meet and greet, and you'll see people that we've seen every time we come here, and it's almost like a reunion for us. It's like,
I think I'm with one of them, aren't I?
Maybe, I don't know. Yeah.
Now, you recently released the video for One, the first single from the album. How's the reaction been to that?
You know, I think it's been kind of mixed. I think some people really like it. And then, of course, I made the mistake of reading some comments online.
Never read
YouTube.
Never
and I think some people wanted us to do something a bit more stylistic. I think that was feedback. To us, though, the vibe of One and choosing that song and speaking with the director that we worked with, we all sort of felt it was a cozy, sort of, yet empty. Like the idea of the cozy intimacy of like a small club show.
And it helps also set the tone of the album, I found as well.
That's kind of it. That's sort of in isolation, a big empty floor. And I mean, so at the end of the day, I love it. I mean, maybe people would like something stylistic. We also love doing those types of videos too. But for One, I think that vibe perfectly set the tone. Yeah.
Also, the other thing, you need the budget sometimes. And
money, yeah, exactly, right. But I mean, those are all sort of, you know, you don't want to be like, yo, well, we don't have, you know, we can't do like a Walt Disneyland, you know, but I don't know. I love that.
You might do Walt Disneyland video. You never know.
Yeah, we'll hire Mickey Mouse to dance around in bunny ears. Wait a minute. We'll get Bugs Bunny and just make him wear a purple tie.
Or Marilyn Manson.
Exactly.
Now, Under Your Spell seems to have taken the band up a level in success. How big would you like the band to get, ideally?
I have absolutely zero projections on that. If you'd have told me 10 years ago that we would, you know, be still touring or touring as often as we did this year or charting on Billboard this year, I would have laughed at you. I've never had any aspirations for what I wanted the end goal to be. None of us, I don't think, have. It's always just been like, if we're still having a good time and it still makes sense, that's success. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not just like, I just want to buy a Lamborghini. Like, I'm not really a Lamborghini person, so I just...
Not that you say no to one, but...
I would, though. They're idiots. I'd rather buy myself a nice bicycle.
Yeah, but you can sell it on eBay, you know.
I guess so, but I got to pay for the shipping. I'm not doing that.
Yeah, there is that.
So, yeah.
Now, the band itself is now being cited as a huge influence on some up-and-coming bands. Like, there's an Irish band called Sugar Plum Suicide.
Ooh, that's a cool name.
They're their main influence, pretty much.
Oh, wow.
And they're going to love me for mentioning them now.
Great name.
Just so you know, didn't pay me.
Yeah, right. What's that $5 pound note in your hand?
But how's it feel knowing your music can influence people in such a positive way that they're forming their own bands and kind of...
I think that's amazing. I mean, I think anything that inspires anybody. I mean, I know who's inspired me over my life, and you know, those sort of things. They don't just give you the musical inspiration; they give you the confidence. They give you the ability to relate to something. And I don't know. I think that's kind of cool. I just hope that if they were ever to meet me, they would think I was a cool person. Because there's nothing worse than like, oh my gosh, sorry. Yeah, there's nothing worse than when you meet someone that you admire and they're just kind of a bag of crap, and you're like, well, there goes that.
I thankfully only had that once. I'm not gonna say who it was.
Yeah.
I've had it once.
Never going to say ever who it is, but yeah, we've all had experiences like that.
So what's next for the band after the months of touring?
At this point, I think we all want to go home for a while. I mean, it's been a long year for us in terms of the touring, and it's personally, like, I've got this injury that I sustained just before we left for a second US run, and you know, I kind of just want to go home and make sure that that's okay, you know what I mean? Just like, I want to, you know, I think the holidays are coming up too, so I think spending some time with our families and just kind of not being on the road for a while will be very restful for all of us. Because this has been a very lots of touring this year.
But that's surely a positive sign that you are getting bigger, so, you know.
Oh, I'm not complaining about it, but I mean, definitely, I'd like to sleep. But I think that's
optional. It's optional.
Yeah, exactly.
Finally, have you got anything you'd like to say to your fans?
Just, again, such a massive, huge thank you for all of your support. And again, not just of us, but of each other. This whole system, this whole family of the Birthday Massacre, which is us and the audience, moves together. And we all look out for each other, and I see our audience doing that for each other, and it makes me so proud and happy to be a part of this band.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, Chibi the Birthday Massacre, thank you very much.
Well, thank you, sir.
Can I get you a